She is my wife!
My property! No! Not anymore!
I created that with one prompt in Leonardo. And it's basically a multi-character scene for a story that I'd written a while ago. And it's amazing. So I'm going to show you quickly how I did that. Now, of course, it's not perfect, but it is actually pretty darn good. Now, notice that I am in a paid Leonardo subscription. So just be mindful of that, because when you're dealing with particular models, when you're doing video generation, they can get pretty expensive. Notice here it's 2,500 credits for this particular generation. Now, when I'm doing video, there are only 2 models. These are all the video models that they have available in Leonardo right now. And I'm actually, again, in the mobile app. So for audio, if you want audio in your video, you only have a chance to use VO3 Fast, which costs 1,250 credits per generation, or VO3, which is double that. So right now I did VO3. Once you choose VO3, you're going to go in and craft a prompt. Now, this is not just let's go in and craft something. You have to do it a specific way if you want the audio to work. For example, I have a starter image. I generated an image that I liked that actually worked for the story I was trying to tell. So I used that as my first frame. Then the prompt that I crafted is basically a very long prompt where you detail a few things. You have to set the scene, and in parentheses, you want to set, for example, Adobe wall. So this is how the scene looks. And then I have here the characters. I have 3 characters in the scene. So once I have those people set, I have to be very specific about what I want to do with each character. For example, this character here, her name is 𝔸𝕀, strong middle-aged African woman in a headscarf, how she looks. She's raising the shotgun, and then I describe how Graham is looking in parentheses again. Now, the part that you really want to know about is when Graham is speaking. So in Graham, with a raspy, angry, thick male British accent, you got to be very specific, yells, "She is my wife, my property." So if you're going to put in dialogue, make sure you put in quotation marks and then separate that dialogue from the rest of the scene. So in this case, I actually corrected it and I put "my property!" exclamation point. So that means that the dialogue is done for her. Then it goes, or done for him, and then it goes to her. And then in response, 𝔸𝕀, with how I want her to sound, says, "No, not anymore." So dramatic is basically how that comes out, and VO3 comes up with its own music. So again, make sure that you have a very detailed prompt that goes into the scene, what the area looks like. Perhaps if you're doing something like a period piece, make sure you put that in there. The characters, describe the characters as much as possible in parentheses. Ideally, you want to put the parentheses, in this case, outside of the character names, create the character name. And then when the characters are speaking, what are the emotions involved? How do they sound? Do they have a particular accent? And then put in the dialogue itself in quotation marks, making sure to separate the dialogue from one character from the dialogue of another character. This is just a very cool feature within Leonardo that you can do on the fly and edit as necessary.